This is Taking Stock with Pim Fox and Courtney Donahoe.
Well, one of the things that we've been talking a lot about lately is how expensive food prices are. Food price inflation, that may top government forecasts. Companies all over it, they've been boosting prices. Nestle, McDonald's, Smucker. So now we're talking to a small food company, how they're handling these rising costs. But Pim, Cinco de Mayo has passed, and everybody's looking to spice things up a little bit, and you can do that with salsa. So let's make a little with Travis Taylor. He's partner of Santascoy Food Group. Am I saying this right?
Yes, you are.
And he oversees Dos Pistolas Salsa. I'm terrible with my Spanish. Sorry.
No,
Welcome.
that's perfect. That's perfect. Thank you for having me.
So how did this recipe come up?
Well, the Dos Pistolas salsa is an 8th generation salsa product. It began its origins in Spain and migrated with our CEO, Sandra Scheer, with her family when they came over with the conquistadors from Spain into Mexico. And then from there, they came to become citizens here in El Paso, Texas, where they began manufacturing the product. Sandra began in Colorado with her own restaurant, Cafe El Paso. And after that, it kind of took off under its own wings, and now we have spread out to many of the stores there in Albertsons. We've recently been added to Whole Foods, and we continue to expand.
Is Whole Foods the holy grail for a lot of condiments, for a lot of small food companies? I mean, because I've heard that they do an incredible amount of research on where to locate their stores to try to find the target-rich environment for the right geography, but more often, for the right demographic group. Because you could make salsa at home, right? But this is you want to find the sweet spot.
Absolutely, Whole Foods is the holy grail when it comes to small businesses, large businesses alike. Whole Foods puts you through a tremendous amount of scrutiny, and there's a lot of work required to meet the demands of that food product.
Do you have to go
what
down
kind of scrutiny?
Well, it goes from everything from the quality of the product to where it's manufactured, the label. It literally comes down to the ingredients therein. One of the Whole Foods, they provide you with an entire list of ingredients that cannot exist in your product. And if one is in your product, then it's automatically ruled out for all of Whole Foods. So it's very difficult to get into Whole Foods. It's even harder to stay.
But just if you can, how did you get in? I mean, do you call somebody up in Austin, Texas, the headquarters of Whole Foods, and say, look, we've got this great salsa. We'd love to get it in the store. We've been selling it for X number of years. I mean, are they that open to new products?
They are on the local level. What Whole Foods really strives to do is cut their costs. And the way that they cut their costs is they do a lot of regional buying, and they are very strong supporters of local business. So what happens is you typically have to contact the buyer at Whole Foods regional buying office. At that point, there's a vendor application process you have to go through, and that's when they do that scrutiny that I spoke about earlier, where they evaluate the products and the product, the ingredients in the product, the taste, the feel, the look, and the demographic. If it meets Whole Foods standards, you're then invited in. Once you're invited, you actually then showcase the product, they taste it, and then at that point, it takes another 6 to 8 weeks after that. Hopefully, they give you the thumbs up. If not,
Now, when they taste it, I mean, is everybody around the table like looking at them, thinking, "Uh-oh, what?" Are they smiling? Do they think it's too spicy?
You know what? Whole Foods was very cordial. Their entire team was very professional, both in their feedback and in the evaluation of our product, and really all the products that are in the room. One of the things they do smile a lot at you, but that's kind of like the poker face, right? They smile at everybody.
Do you have to pay? You have to pay to get it on the shelves there. I mean, a lot of companies are all muscling in to try to get shelf space, not only at Whole Foods but at other grocery stores.
Well, there are slotting fees that are paid to many of the major grocery stores. With Whole Foods, it's more of what's called a free fill, and what a free fill is basically they'll buy X number cases or quantity of a product, less whatever you give them for free. So there's a certain barrier, if you will, to the market space where you have to donate some of the product, but that's just good marketing and good business. So
Well, what's the scrutiny process like at the other grocery stores besides Whole Foods?
Well, with Albertsons is another one of the major chains that we work with. Albertsons was just as focused in the terms of their quality and the value of the product, but they're looking for, again, something that they can provide to the consumer that meets the needs of the consumer, that reaches a specific demographic. And again, if it doesn't have that taste or flavor profile, you unfortunately don't get in.
I can't wait to try the salsa, Pim.
Me mind on fire, me soul on fire, feeling hot, hot, hot. Party people all around me feeling hot, hot, hot.
Yes, hot, hot, hot. When it comes to salsa, they want the products to be hot, hot, hot as well. We're speaking with Travis Taylor. He's the managing partner, chief operating officer of the Santoscoy Food Group. And we're all sampling Dos Pistolas salsa right now. Travis, when did you first experience Dos Pistolas salsa?
About 8 years ago. In Colorado Springs, Colorado. My business partners, Paul and Sandra Shear, own a restaurant called Cafe El Paso. And we had stopped in. We were looking for someplace that had quality food that kind of reminded us of Texas. My father was originally from East Texas. And so we grew up on Tex-Mex and flavored foods. So we were looking for someplace good. We stopped in and we tried, I'll never forget it, it was the fajita burrito, which is this wonderful, wonderful concoction. They've won numerous awards in Colorado for it. And they brought out this small bowl, all green, natural, tomatillo-based salsa. So we were like, okay, well, taste one salsa, tasted it all. One bite of it, they had me hooked. And I think that it speaks volumes for the restaurant because that's what the majority of people came back for.
Why is it all green?
The reason why a green tomatillo-based product is, first of all, the green tomatillo peppers are a lot richer in flavor than the red peppers. That's one of the advantages they have in it. The second is the balance in the color. When you look at a green tomatillo-based salsa, it doesn't look like a red salsa. A red salsa is mostly salt and vinegar and some other stuff thrown in. So once you taste kind of one red salsa, you kind of taste them all. So they went with something different, and it's an age-old family recipe made from those serrano and tomatillo peppers. The rest, we won't tell you.
And it's also kind of soupier than most salsas. Like most salsas are just a little bit thicker. What is causing it to be a little more soupier?
Well, it is actually the blend itself. Because it has a number of different spices and peppers in it, you want those flavors to kind of balance each other out. You don't want, again, like, cut up tomato and onion just kind of piled on top of each other. And it's a coagulation, if you will, of flavors rather than a nice, even blend. And that's what you're tasting when that's sitting on your lips, and it's just like that right amount of heat, right amount of blend. That's what gives it that flavor. It's the way we put it together.
Now, where did you expand to first with this?
Our first stores were local stores in Colorado Springs and Pueblo and Denver. Smaller grocery stores, mom and pop stores. As we kind of built up a little client base, we then went out to some of the larger stores, attempting to do what Mr. Fox had mentioned earlier, trying to get someone to listen to us. Albertsons was the very first major store brand that tried our product on the local level and said, we like it. And literally, thanks to the wonderful folks there in the Loveland's Albertsons, hopefully they're listening, we spread out to all the other Albertson stores in Colorado, which turned out to be over 19 of them. And then from there, we reached out to the corporate folks. They took the feedback from the managers, and now 123 stores later, we're doing very well.
Mirándote a los ojos se responden mis porqués. Me inspiran tus palabras y mi casa está en tu piel, qué tierno amor.
A little salsa there with Mark Anthony, because we are talking about salsa. Actually, we're shoveling in the salsa. We're with Travis Taylor. He's a partner at Santoscoy Food Group, and they have a Dos Pistolas salsas. Again, as I said, my Spanish is just really
fine.
poor.
Muy bien. Muy
You're
bien.
fine.
But
Courtney.
I want to know, how much is this product?
It comes in two different flavors. We have the 16-ounce green gourmet salsa, which is what you're enjoying now. It's sold retail for $4.99 for the 16-ounce jars, at both Whole Foods and Albertsons, and will be available in other stores here shortly. The mango jalapeno sauce, where you get the sweet with the heat, that's going to be $5.99 for the 12-ounce jars.
How does that compare to other salsas price-wise?
Well, in the natural food selection, in most major grocery stores, Whole Foods, we're very competitive when it comes to the price. What you probably already recognize is costs are going up for everyone across the board, and that's due predominantly, it's not our choice. It's just the nature of the beast.
Have you been raising your prices?
We will be looking at raising our prices here shortly. The volume is significant enough and we produced enough. Our product has an 18-month shelf life. So what that means to the average consumer is product that we made over 6-9 months ago still has that freshness to it. So we produced enough of it in our last couple of runs that we have significant pallets left over that we are selling, and it's moving nicely. But as those pallets dwindle down and that cost that we were incurred previously go up with the new production, then of course the price is going to have to reflect that. So
tell the truth, Travis. You ever make your own at home? Or add a little something to the salsa that comes out of the jar? I mean, just add a little sort of homemade stuff?
I'm not going to admit to that. I tell people I make it at home.
You tell people that, but you serve them what's in the jar, right?
Yes, I serve them what's in the jar. Hopefully only 2 people heard this.
All right. I hope more than 2 people. Did you always want to be in the food business?
Actually, it's kind of funny how this worked out. Previously, I sold technology products for Hewlett-Packard and companies like Go.
Technology to salsa.
What got me involved in the food business was the building of channels. That's where my previous experience was. I built indirect sales channels, built value-added resale models for Hewlett-Packard. So using the food product and working with the stores and distributors, that's a natural extension of that, because they become your partners to help you move your product. So it became very successful that way for me.
And talking about that, what are your marketing strategies now to get this out?
Well, we have done several things to get our product out the door. We have partnered with many of the local nonprofit charities in our region to support it. We actually sponsor healthy eating food fairs, predominantly with Whole Foods and Albertsons. And then we've partnered with a major marketing PR firm called 5WPR here in New York that's actually helping us build not only our market and branding presence, but also helping establish a wider market so we'd be available on a national basis.
How about Facebook and Twitter?
Facebook and Twitter, the social media aspect of the product has helped us some. We haven't done as much of that as we would like, but we're trying to find time for my 14-year-old to figure out how to do Twitter. So
having your children work.
Exactly.
Well, they eat, so they got to work.
Exactly.
People that might have an idea, they're listening to this, they think, you know what, I've always had a recipe or I've always had a food, and I want to get into the food business. There must have been some challenges along the way, particularly that stand out for you, that maybe caused you to think this is just a passionate thing. We've just got to keep going because we're getting rejections or we're not getting the distribution that we want. Can you give us any insight?
Oh, absolutely. To anyone who has thought of marketing their mom's favorite spaghetti sauce or their own homemade salsa, the best piece of advice I can give you is believe in you and in your product. This business is a hard business to crack into. Everyone wants to do it. The buyers receive 1,000 phone calls like you every single day, every single hour. What separates you from them is the drive and passion and belief in your product and support for your product. Market your product, market your product, market your product. And if that doesn't work, you can always go to our website and I'll help you do it for you.
Do you have to build your own distribution network? I mean, because there must be existing food service distributors. We know there are, like big, multinational corporations. But how do they take notice of a small guy?
Well, again, with working with a distributor, it's the same thing with the stores. They hear and see, thousands just like you. What you're going to have to do is build a niche. You have to establish a presence first. The best way to do that is working with small local stores in your area. Probably expand out no more than 100 miles. That way you can maintain your costs, keep the costs relatively contained when it comes to the transportation, the wholesale, and all the marketing pieces. From there, once you have a market with sizable numbers that you can point to, you can take it to a distributor.
Always fascinating. Thank you very much. Travis Taylor, Managing Partner, Chief Operating Officer. We're talking about Dos Pistolas Salsa.
You can subscribe to Bloomberg's premium podcast service at Bloomberg.com/Tom Keene. And listen to Taking Stock weekday afternoons at 3 Eastern on Bloomberg 1130 in New York or on Sirius and XM Satellite Radio Channel 113. Copyright 2011 Bloomberg LP.